About situational leadership. We're going to use Ken Blanchard's LBA2 model in order to discuss situational leadership. And probably by the end of the class, you'll say the L thing, the LB2, the LA2 thing, and you'll forget all about situational leadership, and you'll say, I didn't learn anything about leadership in the class. Well, here we go. We're going to talk about situational leadership using Ken Blanchard's style. I know many of you think that you are involved or participative. I've read your leadership papers, so I know what you think you are. But the thing is, Ken Blanchard will tell you many of your subordinates think that you're micromanagers, or they think you're not involved. Why, as a leader, do you think if I'm involved in a project, would they think that I'm a micromanager? Back in the day, when I was a kid, or when I was doing your job, this is how we did it. And how do you take that as a subordinate? Maybe it can be taken as insulting. What?
The way that I'm doing it is wrong. The
way that I'm doing it is wrong. I want you to do it my way. So that's why when we're sitting all at a table and my boss is sitting there and he thinks he's involved, you have the general walk into your room and the general will say, I think we need more pictures on the wall in here. He's just thinking out loud. He might not be serious about committing funds to getting more pictures, and all of a sudden, pictures all over the building, just by saying, because of his position. I think these walls are kind of plain. So as a leader, when you get involved with a project, a lot of times your subordinates think you're micromanaging. Now, a lot of times as a leader, we want to let people do their job, so we stay out of it. Subordinates in those situations think we don't care. They think we're out at the golf course. They tell our boss and their peers, they don't care. They're not involved. They just let me do it my way. In the right situation, getting involved, not getting involved can be the appropriate behavior. But with the wrong individuals, if I get involved and somebody is already competent, already knows how to do the job, and I'm involved, they might think that my involvement is bothersome. They might think my involvement is annoying. They might think that I don't know what I'm doing. I got nothing to do. I'm bored. What does Ken Blanchard say? Ken Blanchard says to diagnose the situation, find out what your needs of your employees are, and then deliver that. The reality is, normally I'm going to do what feels most comfortable to me. If I want to be involved, I'm going to be involved. If I don't want to be involved, I'm not going to be involved, depending on what my priorities are, depending on what my comfort level is, without diagnosing. So in the general population, what he says the best thing to do is come in like a lion. Come in and say, this is how we're going to do it. This is what's going on at this organization. Why would he say that? In general. Now remember, he says the best thing to do is diagnose and give them what they need. But in general, if I'm not diagnosing, come in like a lion. Why should I come in like a lion? You may want to set a trend. Establish yourself as the leader. Establish your authority. Establish your competence, your knowledge of what's going on at this organization. What else? Set your expectations. What happens if I come in and I just am laissez-faire and let things go as they're going? I could lose control of the organization. May not get the results I'm looking for. I'll tell you what I've done. I've let somebody do a job. You know, I think you could probably do this. This is what I want you to do. And just give them a general perspective of what I wanted. And I get it back. And it's not to the level of detail that I expected. So now I got to send it back 2 or 3 times. And what's the employee thinking? Well, you let me have the reins on this thing here. Now you send it back 2 or 3 times. You didn't tell me what to do in the first place. You just gave me a general idea, and I did what you asked for, and you send it back twice. If you knew what you wanted, you should have told me in the beginning, and we could have saved this time going back and forth. I don't want to sit in your office. I don't need to be talking back and forth with you. I want to do my job. I want to get paid. I got a family outside of this organization. So the first thing he says, if you don't know what their competence level is, if you don't know what their commitment is, come in like a lion. Tell them what you want, and then get it done. Now the other thing is, he says, if you are diagnosing and you misdiagnose, come back one at a time. With Ken Blanchard's chart here, he's evaluating 2 different things in order to establish what type of a leader I am. He has 4 different types of a leader on here: directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. And on his chart, he's looking at both, he's evaluating both directive and supportive behavior. So this is how he's diagnosing both the employees and the leadership style that you should use. So what he says, in the beginning, come in like a lion. Use the directive behaviors. Now, the best situation is to diagnose and provide them the leadership style that they need. So, if I misdiagnose and I give them the delegating style, meaning when I handed out that project, here's the project, you do it, I think you should know how to do it, you've been here for however many years, you know how this organization runs. So if I use the delegating style and I'm the leader that's not available, not there, because I believe that this individual, if you look at the delegating style, if I believe that this individual is highly competent, and highly committed to this organization, and I give them the delegating style and I just give them the project. If I misdiagnose that individual, he says to come back 1 block at a time. So instead of delegating, what I should have done is I should have been supporting in that situation. Or I should move to supporting. If I've delegated this task and this individual didn't come back with the right product, I should move to the supporting style. So if I'm moving to the supporting style on this chart, I'm adding supportive behavior. Not directive behavior, I'm adding supportive behavior. So that would mean if I have some resources, if I have a manual, for example, I asked them to write a memo. You've been here 4 years, write this memo. You've been with the Army for a long time, you should be able to write a memo. And the memo doesn't come back properly. Instead of hovering over them while they write the memo, or instead of letting them watch me write the memo, what I'm going to give them is my resources. If I have an FM on writing memorandums and they're not following the FM, I'm going to give them my resources. I'm going to give them that FM. If I'm asking them to conduct an operation and they screw it up or don't appear like they know what they're doing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around and say, you know, I think so-and-so is in charge of that facility. Why don't you go talk to so-and-so? If I've used the delegating style, I'm going to give them my resources. Go talk to so-and-so. Maybe you should use the buses that they have over in Building 10. So I'm going to start like that. Instead of just taking over the project or sending it back and saying, these are the things you should have done, I'm going to start adding that supportive behavior. And then if that doesn't work, if the supportive behavior is not enough, if the memorandum is, if the FM is not appropriate, if using my resources is not coming out with the end result that I want, then I'm going to take them back again, 1 more block, and I'm going to start adding AARs, I'm going to start adding IPRs, we're going to start sitting down all the time and getting updates on what's going on, tell me what's going on, and ultimately, if I really messed up and they just have no idea what they're doing, despite the fact that I thought they knew what they were doing, now I take them under my wing. In the directive style, I do everything. I don't give you the FMs. I don't tell you where the buses came from. Instead, I schedule the buses. I write the FMs. I show you how. I tell you what it was done. I tell you to be there at 6 o'clock. You're going to be there at 6 o'clock. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to do at 7 o'clock. This is what we're going to do at 8 o'clock. So in this situation, I'm essentially running the show. I'm scheduling the buses. I'm conducting the whole operation in the directive style. I'm telling you exactly what to do. So, in a nutshell, these are the 4 different stages of situational leadership. Directive, where I'm telling you everything that you need to know. All you have to do is be there and carry out the actions, whatever actions they might be. In the supporting or in the coaching leadership style, now I'm starting to tell you why I'm using this style, where we're going, why we're going there, what time we're going to be there. So I'm starting to ask for feedback from you and starting to develop you as an individual. Then in the supportive style, now I remove my direction. I'm not necessarily telling you what, when, where, or how to do it, but I'm still providing you my resources. I'm still telling you, here's the FM, here's the bus, here's what the way we're doing it. Now, in the delegating style, this is the area where most leaders work. This is the area that causes most leaders a lot of issues or challenges or problems. Why? This is essentially an impoverished environment. You have no direction and no support. But you're required to get a job done. You're told what your job is in this organization. So essentially, in the delegating area, that's my area where I like to work. And I'll show you, I used myself as an example this morning. But in the delegating style, that's where your boss tells you, you're in charge. These are your people. Do what you have to do. I know as an employee of the government, I have certain resources available to me. I know that if I want other resources, I know how to get them. I know it's not an easy process, but I know that they're there. I know that they're available to me. So essentially, what you're doing in that role is, as a leader, I have to make something out of essentially nothing, and then make my employees underneath me feel as though they have everything. So I'm creating an environment for them in which those new employees that need that clear guidance, that clear direction, they need the resources laid out for them. I'm taking that environment that we said soldiers had. Soldiers create something from nothing. That's essentially what we're doing. We're creating the environment that those directive new employees need, giving them the clear guidance, the clear direction that they need. Your primary style is the place where I like to operate. This is the place where, if I'm not paying attention to what my needs and my subordinates are, I'm encouraging them to operate in this style. So if my style is very directive, and they're a new employee and they need lots of direction, then that's appropriate for them. But if my primary style is directive, and they've been there a long time, then I'm an irritant for them, because I'm always telling them what to do, not providing the resources that they need. So it's not providing what they need as far as a subordinate. So if that is my primary style, that's where I am constantly operating when I'm not paying attention. So whenever I'm multitasking, I'm not paying attention, and I'm giving them that leadership style. That means that I'm pulling them towards that leadership style, which means if they don't need that leadership style, if they need a lot of direction, they're going to other employees to get that direction if I'm not providing it for them. The secondary style is the place that you operate second. The place that you are feeling comfortable in, but maybe not necessarily applying appropriately. So if I'm a directive leader and my secondary style is coaching, but my subordinate needs me to leave them alone, I'm likely to be coaching instead of directing if I'm trying to leave them alone, but I'm probably still not giving them what they need. 3 or less is going to tell you that you need to develop that leadership style. That means whenever I'm operating in that situation, I'm just messing it up. So this means that more often than not, I'm delegating. Regardless of whether you need a lot of attention or not, I'm delegating. So for certain employees, if I'm in a situation in which I should be directing more often than delegating, I need to give myself reminders. that I need to go check on them, that they need clear guidance, that I need to go over there and say, hey, what are you doing, that I need to get more involved. So I need reminders. Okay, Kathy, maybe today I'm going to get up and I'm going to go check on my subordinates 3 or 4 times instead of whatever feels comfortable. If comfortable to me is once or twice, I'm going to ramp it up a little bit. And I'm going to tell myself with these certain employees that I need to do that. So I'm going to give myself a reminder because I need something to get me continuously out of my comfort zone with those individuals once I identify what my primary style is. Because more often, this is where I'm operating. The next thing we're going to do is our secondary style. So your secondary style is 4 or more, but less than your primary style. So if my primary style was 7, any areas where I have 4 or more but less than 7, I'm going to put here, the secondary. So for me, that's the 6 and the 4, which is the S2 and the S3, supporting and coaching. So I'm going to put my 6 and my 4 here on the chart. So for me, my secondary style is the coaching and the supporting. So if I want to delegate and my employees need direction, more often than not, I'm going to be coaching and supporting them instead of giving them direction because it's my secondary style. I'm going to be less likely to give them the direction that they need because I don't like it. Directing is the area that I don't like to be in, I'm not very good in, and I'm not likely with new employees to give them lots of direction. And I can remember a situation when I had a new employee and I gave her the coaching method, gave her the resources, told her where to go, where the connections were. Didn't work out well at all because she needed direction. And she was going to find somebody that was willing to give her direction. So there's 4 developmental levels in Ken Blanchard's book. First of all, the enthusiastic beginner. Second of all, there's the disillusioned learner, the capable but cautious performer, and the self-reliant achiever. The enthusiastic beginner. We've all seen the enthusiastic beginner. I remember the enthusiastic beginner in my organization. These are the employees that are new. They just walk through the doors. They absolutely adore your organization. I got a pay raise when I came here. I've been going to school to learn how to do these things, and now I just can't wait to do them. And I want to do them exactly like I learned them. The enthusiastic beginner, if we think of a kid getting a new Christmas present, imagine the enthusiastic beginner as the guy that just got his first bike. I saw all kinds of people out there riding the bikes. I saw them on television. I saw them doing tricks, and it looks really cool, and I can't wait to do it. So the enthusiastic beginner is that new employee that's very excited about their job, hasn't had any kind of complications up to this point, hasn't run into any challenges of not having the resources that they need. This is the enthusiastic beginner. The disillusioned learner. The disillusioned learner is that kid that just got his bike and now is taking it outside for the first time, and I realize, even though it looks really easy to do, that bike is not magical. I don't just hop on and it runs me around, and I don't just jump and start doing tricks just because I got the bike. I had to learn how to do those tricks. So the disillusioned learner for your employees, this is the guy that has come to your organization, ran into a couple different obstacles. I have my degree, I can't believe it. I'm so excited about getting in the workforce. I'm making some money finally. And all of a sudden, wow, you want me to do what? I don't have a desk yet, but you said you needed an employee. So this is the guy that's run into a few obstacles, maybe has realized that the job is a little more challenging than it first appeared. Next is a capable but cautious performer. Capable but cautious performer is the guy that had they got their first bike, fallen down a few times, figured out how to get up. I know how to make the bike go. I know how to do some tricks on it. I like hanging out with my friends, and my friends have bikes. So this is the capable but cautious performer. Who is this guy at your organization? This is the guy that knows how the organization runs. They can make things happen. They don't know if they want to waste their time on that stuff because it may not have materialized, and it wasn't my fault. I did what I was supposed to do, and nothing came out of it. So this is a capable but cautious performer. The Self-Reliant Achiever. The Self-Reliant Achiever is that guy that had the new bike. Not only do I ride around the bike with my friends, now I figured out how to make this bike work for me. I may be making money riding this bike. I might be using this bike to ride in marathons just because I've decided I like it. So I've figured out how to make this bike do something besides cart me around. I may be using it to sell newspapers. I may be using it to run in races. I may be using it to pay my bills. Who is this within your organization? These are the individuals that have been around the block. These are the individuals that have connections on the installation. These are the individuals that are respected within your organization. These are the individuals that are training the new employees within your organization. Self-reliant achievers. For the enthusiastic beginner, the descriptors are energetic, unsure, questions, reckless, zealous, lost, aggressive, persistent, eager, easy to mold, excited, motivated. In addition to those, we have they need information, they need guidance, they need acceptance, encouragement, resources, goals, milestones, recognition, direction, feedback, time, reassurance, and training. Frustrated, withdrawn, judgmental, that they need a resume, they feel confused, apprehensive, undetermined, lost, hopeless. This is the worst one to be, is what one of the groups mentioned. Cautious and hesitant. Coaching, guidance, reassurance, praise, feedback, motivation, mentoring, encouragement, accountability, team building. Smart, willing, polished, low self-confidence, unmotivated, bored, respected, disengaged, satisfied, and unmotivated. Remember, this is the capable but cautious performer. This is the one that scraped their knees, that's found out that the job is a little bit more challenging than what it looked like in the textbook or what it looked like when someone else was doing it. So they're capable, but they ran into some stumbling blocks, some obstacles, some realities. Direction, feedback, communication, periodic monitoring, ownership, a buddy, potential for growth. Last but not least, the self-reliant achiever. They're goal-oriented. They're motivated. They may be a trainer at your organization. They're arrogant, a self-starter, very independent. Also irritable, curious, forward-thinking, and to have that potential to be a troublemaker. They need a challenge. They need to be rewarded. They need to be acknowledged. They need continuous improvement. They need minimal direction. They need limits. They may need groupies. They may need reassignment. They may need retirement. Now remember, on Ken Blanchard's grid, he uses two different things. He uses two different measures, directive behavior and supportive behavior. So Ken Blanchard says you have 3 options when you're choosing a when you're using situational leadership: to match the leadership style that they need based on their needs, to over-supervise, which is the micromanager, be overly involved, telling them exactly what to do, how to do, when to do it, or to under-supervise, not provide them enough direction, guidance, or not the direction and guidance that they need.